The director. The art of directing is an exercise in leadership, imagination, and control. The direction of a play is not visible like the costumes or the scenery. It cannot be heard or sensed like the actor's voice or the sound designer's work. And yet direction lies under everything we see. At the technical level, the director is the person who organizes, schedules, and supervises the production. At the artistic level, he conceptualizes the play, gives it vision and purpose, and brings the artists together in collaboration. There has always been a director, but not always an individual specifically charged with that role. Historically, there were teacher directors. Directing was, in fact, a form of teaching, of passing on one's craft. Then, toward the late 1800s, there came directors who were more concerned with creating harmony in their productions, bringing together the aspects of acting, staging, and scenery to create a more lifelike theatrical production. These directors were called realistic directors. Stanislavski in Russia was influential in developing this wholly integrated approach to production. These directors not only fostered the development of realistic and naturalistic drama, but they also opened up the theater to psychological interpretation. You might be interested to know that at the same time in history, the 1800s, Sigmund Freud was introducing psychoanalysis for the first time. So it was a time of delving into the human condition, and that was reflected upon the stage. The rise of realism established the importance of the director. Realism led to anti-realism, and the realistic director evolved into the stylized director. Stylized directors joined with non-realistic playwrights to create the modern anti-realistic theater, which we'll explore later this term. The contemporary director must synthesize or bring together script, design, and performance. The contemporary director of today fuses both realistic and stylistic techniques. The directorial function is one of envisioning the main lines of the production and providing the artistic leadership necessary to realize that vision. Direction is providing a point of focus, a direction for the actors, designers, and technicians, and even the audience. If he is successful in expressing his concept to the actors and designers, then it is the director's vision that we see in the final product. Directorial function can be divided into phases: a preparatory phase and an implementation phase. Let us first look at the preparatory phase. Play selection. 3 basic considerations go into selecting a play. It must be of interest to the director, it must be of interest to the intended audience, and the director must have the ability to produce the play adequately, giving his or her available resources. Concept. The concept, or conceptual vision, is the director's own creation. The concept can be expressed in many ways. It could be a social statement. Perhaps this is a play about tyranny, or this is a play about racism, or this is a play about women's rights. It could be philosophical. This is a play about self-knowledge. It could be very specific. This is a play about one man's greed. Whatever the concept, it is the director's creation and can be completed by saying, this is a play about blank. Designer selection. Next, the designer must choose his designers and design the production. The director's work in actually designing the production is usually more suggestive and corrective. Through a series of personal conferences with his or her designers, he may convey his concept in detail and suggest some possibilities for its visual realization, perhaps colors, images, spaces, textures. Then he must allow his designers to do their job, creating their own conceptions via drawings, sketches, models, ground plans, technical details. During this phase, the design of the production evolves through a collaborative process in which the director has final approval or rejection. Casting comes next, and it has been said that 90% of directing is casting. And truly, from the audience point of view, the one wholly unique ingredient. They, being the actor, are what the actor cares about and who they'll remember the next day. Once the production is cast, we leave the preparatory phase and enter the implementation phase of directing, which begins with staging, or getting a play on its feet. The timing and placement of the characters, their entrances, exits, crosses, embraces, and other major movement is called blocking. Certain movement, like fight scenes or dances, may require specialized blocking, and sometimes a combat coach or a choreographer is brought in to stage these sections. Small-scale movement on the stage, which a character performs within the larger pattern of blocking, is called business. Mixing a drink, smoking a cigarette, answering a telephone. All these are part of stage business. The director spends most of his time coaching the actors. The director is the rehearsal leader and decides what activities will occupy each rehearsal period. Further, like the coach of an athletic team, the director is responsible for stimulating the best efforts of the cast and for providing an atmosphere in which the actors can feel free to liberate themselves. Despite all a director's responsibilities, the thing he will be praised or slandered for personally by critics is pacing. If a show drags, it is the director who is blamed. The pace of a play is determined largely by the quality and quantity of information conveyed to the audience. The director must decide how much time the audience requires to assimilate the information. A well-directed play should have a variety of tempos. Dramatic timing is a mark of great theatrical artistry. Remember, in the qualities of a fine play, we talked about flow. This term applies to directing as well, but now we are referring to it as pace. Coordinating. In the final rehearsals, the director's responsibilities become more and more one of coordination, bringing together the concept and the designs, the acting and the staging, the pace and the performance. All the production elements must be brought together and judged, adjusted, and polished. It is at this time that the director arrives at the crossroads. He or she must begin to let go, to give over the play to the actors and technicians who will execute it from night to night. The director's primary responsibility is to envision the main lines of the production and to provide the artistic leadership to realize that vision. A director should possess a craft mastery of staging, actor coaching, pacing, production coordination, a strong literary imagination, and the ability to conceptualize intellectually and visually, and he should have a sound working knowledge of the history of theater, meaning the various styles and masterworks of dramatic literature. Therefore, the accomplished director is perhaps the one all-round expert of the theater.